Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Short messages delivered in this form can be very challenging when times are so complicated. And that's the reality of our lives. Things are really complicated in relation to the entire world. The politics in this country, certainly what's going on in Israel and with the war against Hamas and what's happening between Israel and the United States right now, who has been so very, very helpful to this war effort for Israel. And now we have some issues and questions and a lot of complications. I don't want to try to simplify any of that. Rather, what I want to do is look at some overriding issue that has to do with our Torah reading this week, our Parsha, and our identification as Jews. In the beginning of the Parsha, it says, Kadoshim Tihiyu, which literally means you should be holy. And it raises a question. What does it mean to be holy? When we think of holy people, we typically don't think of people like ourselves, but we think of people who live lives perhaps separated from other people, lives that are very austere and devoted in a constant way to matters of the spirit. That's not the lives that we live. We live amongst people. We live with children and old people. We live lives where we have to work and keep houses. So how do we understand Kadoshim Tihiyu? One of the things that's pointed to is that it's in the plural. And that means that you have to create a holy people. We have to create a holy people. And so how do we do that? Well, if you look in the Parsha, you see that it's not about ritual purity. It's not just about the religious acts of life, but rather it's the way we treat each other. It's about taking care of the poor. It's about not standing idly by when there's wrongdoing. It's about not putting a stumbling block in front of the blind. And those are metaphors, obviously, for the fact that we have to live lives of compassion, of empathy. We have to pursue justice. Someone else once said about Kadoshim Tihiyu, and this comes from the Midrash, that it means that you should be prushim, which means you should be different. You should be separate. And that's a constant tension that we feel as Jews in this world, because on one hand, we want to be a part of the world like everybody else is. On the other hand, we know, both because of those outside of our people who are anti-Semites and because of our own experiences, we often do feel separate. And therein, I think, is the real challenge of living a Jewish life. That is, we want to be separate because we have our own unique practices and our own unique culture and our own unique identity, and yet we want to be a part of the world. Martin Buber, the great philosopher, he solved this by saying the following: you're going to be holy not by being separate from the world, but by being a part of the world and showing the world that there are ways to act, there are ways to be, that you can raise your level of humanity through your response to the suffering in the world, to people in need, to your own parents and your own children, and the world that you create. I hope we can create a world of holiness. It's not just a dream. It's done by what we do day to day. Shabbat Shalom.